Hi there! Thank you so much for joining me today. This is Julie DiMatteo from thepaperpixie.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the US. And in this video tutorial, I have this really cute, what I'm calling a tapered treat box. I love the look and size of this. I want to give credit for the inspiration to fellow German demonstrators Andrea Schmidt and Sabina, who I don't know her last name, but I will link to their blog post in my detailed blog post so you can check out their projects. Love the way their projects look, so I decided to convert some measurements and pixify it and come up with my own version. And I just love the way this looks with the Playing with Patterns Designer Series paper. The cardstock base is purple posie, and these colors just look beautiful together. So let me show you how easy this is to make. We're going to start with a piece of purple posie cardstock that measures 5 inches by 6.5 inches. You can get 2 of these out of a sheet of 8.5 by 11. And on the 5-inch side, we're going to score this at 1.5 inches from each side. Then I'm going to rotate it to the 6.5-inch side, and we're going to score this at 1.5, 3, 4.5, and 5.5. And then I'm going to make a little tick mark at 2.25, and I'm just taking the ball tip of my stylus and just pressing on the cardstock right there where the cardstock meets the top of the Simply Scored at 2.25. And I'm just going to flip the cardstock and make one more tick mark at 2.25 so that we have that right there. That's kind of marking the halfway point of this section here. Okay, bringing in the template, we're going to do our diagonal score lines. Where we made that little 2.25 inch tick mark, we're going to come in with our stylus or the stylus for the Take Your Pick tool. I'm going to start it where that tick mark is, bring in the ruler, and then we're going to score on the diagonal down to this intersection of score lines. And we're going to continue to do that to create these diagonal score lines in the 2 panels where we made those tick marks. So again, I like to put the ball tip right where I want it to start. Then I bring the ruler to it. That gives a little bit of space for the size of the ball tip on the stylus. And then I'm going to score. And then I'm just going to work my way around to finish all those diagonal score lines. So they're going to look like that. Next, I'm going to fold and burnish on all the straight score lines. All right, now I'm going to hold my cardstock in portrait mode, but I've got the 1-inch section at the top and the 1.5-inch section at the bottom. Coming in with my paper snips, I'm going to cut up the vertical score lines, stopping at that first horizontal score line. I'm going to cut just to the inside of the score line. So you'll see the score line is on this outside piece. We'll do the same thing on the left vertical score line, but this time leaving the score line on this outside piece, okay? Then I'm going to rotate it 180. We're going to cut up the vertical score lines again, but this time we're going to stop at the 3rd horizontal score line. Again, just cutting right inside the score line. All right, so it's going to look like that. Now we've got a little bit of bulk here, and let me show you a quick tip to get rid of that. We're essentially going to remove these grayed out sections, and you can come in and eyeball those cuts as well, but I personally think that this way is faster. So along this side, I'm just going to fold that middle section out of the way, the section that we don't want to cut, and I'm going to line this up where that folded line here is lined up on the 2nd vertical line on the trimmer, the 2nd one to the left of the cutting groove. That is the 1/2-inch mark. So what we're left with are 2 little 1/2-inch tabs here. Then I'm going to rotate it 180. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Again, folding away the piece that we don't want to cut, lining up that fold at the 1/2-inch mark. So again, the 2nd score line from the left of the cutting groove. And just like that, we remove those sections. The next thing I'm going to do is on these tabs, I'm going to come in and miter or notch those because they're going to be folding into the box. I like to move this middle section out of the way. It gives me easier access to cut those at an angle. And then we're going to turn it 180 and we'll repeat the same thing on the other side, folding that piece out of the way. Now what we can do is, because we cut those sections away, now we're able to fold right on those diagonal score lines easily, so we can come in and burnish. And I'm folding them backwards. The next thing we're going to do is on this long piece, we're going to round those top 2 corners using the detailed trio punch. like so. That's going to help tuck that tab in the box. And now we can come in and start to adhere our designer series paper. I'm going to put the template away, but that will be on my detailed blog post. I quick wanted to show you an alternative. So this is the version of the box I'm showing you tonight where the tab tucks all the way into the box and holds itself closed. The other option is that you can not tuck the tab in and add designer series paper to the outside of the box and do a Velcro or magnet closure. You can also, because the width of this box is 2 inches, use any of our tag topper punches to give this a really cool design with those punches. If you're going to have the flap on the outside of the box, you're going to want to cut 2 pieces that measure 7/8 by 1 7/8. If not, if you're going to tuck the tab in, you only need 1 of these. But for both versions, you're going to want 2 pieces that measure 1 3/8 by 1 7/8. All of these pieces, if you have a directional pattern of paper, you'll want to cut them in landscape mode. So now I'm just going to line this up on here and kind of show you how the paper is going to be adhered. I like to keep all of my stripes going in the same direction. And if you are going to be adhering this piece, because you're going to attach the flap to the outside, you want to make sure that you just eyeball the direction of the stripes, and then these would be the 2 corners you'll want to round before you adhere it to that piece. For this version, we're going to tuck in the flap, so I'm just going to come in with multi-purpose liquid glue and adhere those pieces down. We don't have a piece here because this is the bottom of our box. Now that that's glued down, I'm going to come in with tear and tape, and we're going to run that right along these little tabs, but I'm adhering it right up to the score line as opposed to the edge of the cardstock, like so. I'm just going to do that to all 4 sections. All right, so we've got the tear and tape down. I'm just going to come in with the take your pick tool and remove the backing. And if you have any tear and tape hanging over the edge, just fold it back on itself. Okay, so now we're going to line up this score line with this cut edge to start to form one of the box corners. And then we're just going to work our way around. There we go, easy peasy. I love how this box closes. Because we have that 1-inch section at the top, that gives a little bit more space in this box versus if this were pinched all the way closed, you'd lose a lot of space in the box for treats. So now we can just tuck in the flap there, and look, it holds itself together. I love the way that is. I opted not to add a finger notch here because you can simply just put your fingers on the sides of this box to pull out the flap. But if you wanted to add a finger notch, I recommend using something like the Everyday Label Punch, which has this little rounded part here. And I would just recommend, this is not where we'd put the finger notch, but just for demonstration purposes, you'd put the edge of the cardstock right up to where that half circle stops and punch. And you'd want to put that finger notch here. But again, it's not necessary for this treat box. Now I'm going to tie a bow using this beautiful ribbon from the Playing with Patterns ribbon combo pack. And I'm just going to feed this up underneath the box top. If you need to take the tab out and just feed it under, you can do that as well. We'll close it to kind of hold it in place. Now I'm going to go ahead and tie the bow, but I'm going to show you a quick tip here. I'm going to get the bow started. I always like to tie my bows right off of the ribbon spool to try to save some ribbon. I'm going to start to make my knot here. And with this ribbon, the knot doesn't really want to hold itself in place. So instead of fumbling with holding my finger down and tying the ribbon, I'm going to come in with a pair of reverse tweezers. I found these on Amazon. You can find them on my link at thepaperpixie.com/favorites. But that's kind of acting as a third hand for me there. And then I can just come in and work on my bow without worrying about that knot coming loose. So I'll tie my bow, pull out those reverse tweezers, and then we can just play with the bow till we get it how we like it. There we go. I love that bow on the top of the box. I'm going to come in with a mini glue dot and we'll just secure the bow in place. I'm just going to hide that right underneath the knot. And then that just keeps the bow in place there. I'm going to do a little bit of stamping. We're going to use the Queen Anne's lace stamp set and the sentiment thanks. I'm going to stamp that in Night of Navy onto Whisper White. And then I'm going to cut it out with this stitched die from the Hippo and Friends dies. I love this set of dies for so many things. And I'm going to come in and cut this out, but I'm going to put the thanks off to the left a little bit to save room for an embellishment. So let me go cut that and I'll be right back. And that's what it looks like with that beautiful stitching detail. I'm going to adhere this to the front of our treat box with liquid glue. You could use dimensionals as well. And then I'm going to grab a Coastal Cabana Playing with Patterns resin dots. We'll grab the larger one and we'll just place that right off to the right of the sentiment. And there is our super cute tapered treat holder. There's a lot of cute things that will fit inside. I opted to put a Rafaello in here, but it'll fit Lindor Truffles. I think it'll fit a Ferrero Rocher, Hershey's Nuggets, Hershey's Kisses, all kinds of fun treats. It'd also be a really cute jewelry box. I just love the size and shape of it. The finished size is 1.5 inches in height, 2 inches wide, and 1.5 inches deep. But then keep in mind it does taper a little bit at the top, but I just love the way it looks. How cute is that? So here's the other version. If you choose not to tuck the flap in, you can add designer series paper to the flap and then adhere it with a Velcro dot or a magnet. Again, you could also punch this out with our tag topper punches and use a brad to hold it closed. Lots of options, but this would be so cute for so many different occasions just by changing up the paper, the sentiments, etc. So thank you so much for joining me. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and hit that bell icon so you don't miss my next video. If you're interested in purchasing any of the Stampin' Up! Products I used today, they'll be linked in the description. And I'll also include a link to my detailed blog post with all project measurements, details, and a picture of the template. I'd love to have you come visit me at thepaperpixie.com where I post projects every weekday to inspire you. And if you don't want to miss a thing, you can subscribe to receive blog updates via email, and you'll receive an email each time I publish a new post. You can shop with me anytime at thepaperpixie.com/shop. And if you're interested in a discount on your Stampin' Up! Purchases, the starter kit is the ultimate bundle, and it's a great way to get your wish list for less. You can purchase the starter kit at thepaperpixie.com/join, and I'd love to welcome you to my team of Paper Pixies. If you don't already have a demonstrator and you'd like a complimentary copy of our catalog, you can order a catalog through me at thepaperpixie.com/catalogs. And if you give this project a try, I'd love to see what you made, so feel free to share it on social media with the hashtag PaperPixie, and I'll be sure to check it out. Thanks again for watching. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed day. Take care. Bye.